everyone, my name is Tsem Rinpoche of Ganden Monastery, and today we're doing a live transmission. This is really live, not pre-recorded. So if there's little mistakes here and there, please forgive me. Today I'd like to talk about how if you practice Dorje Shugden, do you go to the lower realms or not? In Buddhism, we know there are 6 realms according to Lord Buddha that we can take rebirth in. The highest realm is the realm of the gods, then the demigods, then humans, and those are the 3 upper realms. 3 lower realms, engrossing, is hell, hungry ghost or spirit realm, and animals. Then within those realms, there are many divisions, many types of hells, cold and hot. Different types of spirits, many types. All right? Is it okay? Now, spirits, in general, are beings that have no form. They travel at the speed of thought. They can pass through physical material objects like walls and doors. They can fly, they can go underground, they can go inside water, they can appear in the dark, through the day, in the night. They can appear anywhere at the speed of thought. So what happens is, spirits, the main cause is miserliness and selfishness. So when a spirit takes rebirth from miserliness or selfishness, then they abide in that state. It could be for hundreds of years, even thousands of years. Some spirits take rebirth due to a lot of anger. Before they die, something was done to them that made them very angry. Or some spirits take rebirth as spirits because something violent was done to them, or something unfinished was done, or they have a lot of attachment towards wealth or some possession, or towards a room, or towards a person. There are many reasons why beings take rebirth as spirits. Animals also can take rebirth as spirits, not just humans. And spirits, they live for varied lives. They can live for thousands of years, hundreds of years, even a few minutes. So what happens is, a spirit, when they take rebirth as a spirit, usually it's not from good causes. It's not from good motivation. It's not from good thinking. A spirit incarnation, or taking a rebirth as a spirit, usually is considered negative. So therefore, taking rebirth as a spirit is one of the 3 lower types of taking rebirth. So we call that engrossing. Okay? So I repeat, if you are very attached to a person, if you're very attached to an object, if you're very attached to a place, a concept, some form of tangible material items, then when you die, the last thing you think of is that item. So you take form of a spirit to go hang around that object, or to protect that object, or to be near that object. And if anyone gets in your way, some spirits can be quite ferocious, they can be quite damaging, or they can create harm. So let's say a spirit has died and they're living inside a house. So they feel that that's their house. They feel that it belongs to them and they live there and it's theirs. So if you happen to move in, you can see supernatural occurrences happen because they feel you are invading their space. So what happens is that, how are you invading their space? Because they feel that you're in their house. Therefore, they can disturb you, they can make things move, they can make noises, they can try to scare you, they can try to push you or touch you or harm you or move things or make sounds. They can do all that to let you know that that's their place. So generally, a spirit is something that arises from negative thinking, negative thought, negative motivation, negative prayers, attachment, anger, unfinished business, and perhaps when a person died violently, or when a person died in a very horrific way, they can return back as spirits. You may think, why do those people who were victims of crimes or victims of horrific situations have to be punished to reincarnate back as spirits? You see, it's not they're being punished by an outer force or a god or a Buddha or a deity. They're not being punished when they take rebirth. The last thought that they had will trigger latent karma to be reborn in various places. So if they have a certain type of thinking at the time of death and they hold on to it very strongly, even if they were victims, they will still return back as a spirit, and some as a harmful spirit. Because it's not the perpetrator of the crime, it is more the attitude of the person who has died or is dying. That's what triggers karma to take rebirth in higher or lower places. Now, I've said in previous videos, and I'm going to repeat myself a little bit in every video, in every transmission, I'm going to repeat myself a little for the sake of the new people who have joined me. I am 52, and at the age of 18, I have received the practice of Dorje Shugden, among many other practices, from my root teacher, master, who is a great scholar, yogi, meditator, and one of the highest incarnate lamas of the Gelugpa school of Buddhism, His Holiness Je Tsongkhapa. Je Tsongkhapa is my root guru. Je Tsongkhapa is the one that gave me instructions and directions on where I should lead my life and what I should do. And it was Je Tsongkhapa that I promised to become a monk, that I promised to study the Dharma, and also it was Je Tsongkhapa that I promised to do the Dorje Shugden practice for the rest of my life. So according to Tibetan Buddhism, when you promise your Lama to do something, no other Lama, no other institution, organization, or monastery can override your Lama's instructions to you. The only person that can release you or excuse you from the instructions that the Lama has given you is the actual Lama who gave you the instructions. So for example, His Holiness Je Rinpoche gave me specific instructions directly to me to practice Dorje Shugden as a protector to remove obstacles to my life for the whole of my life. And I swore to Je Tsongkhapa and I promised Je Tsongkhapa that I would do so. Whether Je Tsongkhapa is alive or he's passed away, I made a promise. So there's spiritual integrity. The spiritual integrity is whatever you promise your Lama, whether they're alive or they're passed away, you must keep it. A promise is a promise. And therefore, I am continuing my Dorje Shugden practice under tremendous duress, under tremendous pressure, under tremendous criticism. For practicing Dorje Shugden, I am called out as someone who is against the Dalai Lama. I am criticized for practicing a spirit, a demon. I am called names, vulgar names. My life has been threatened. I've been insulted over and over on social media because of my practice of Dorje Shugden. I've been called a Chinese spy, someone who works for the Chinese government and who is paid to create schism among the Tibetan communities, and by using Dorje Shugden as something that creates schism. The reason for that is because His Holiness, the 14th Dalai Lama, has told people not to practice Dorje Shugden. So in Tibetan society, what the Dalai Lama says is law, is the rule, must be followed. So if you contradict the Dalai Lama, if you do something opposite of what the Dalai Lama recommends, unlike leaders of other countries, it's not allowed. In Asian society, Asian people of Asian descent, born and raised in Asia, do not like to say things directly. They like to infer things and give the other person some face. So what happens is, in Tibetan society, they always say to you that you have the option of practicing Dorje Shugden. You have the freedom to practice Dorje Shugden. You're allowed to practice Dorje Shugden. And if you practice Dorje Shugden, you have all the freedom to do so. You have your own monasteries. That's very deceptive, because if you practice Dorje Shugden, if you checked Tibet.net, if you check the Tibetan exile government's official website, which originates from Dharamsala, North India, Himachal Pradesh, if you check Tibet.net, the constitution, the exile constitution of the Tibetan government is that if you don't give up Dorje Shugden and you practice, you may not attend the Dalai Lama's teachings. You may not attend the Dalai Lama's secular talks. You may not work in the Tibetan government's any jobs in the Tibetan government. You may not go to the Tibetan government-sponsored hospitals and schools and facilities. Yes, that is happening today. So if one of our people here that's in the audience can upload the Tibet.net page that mentions that, then our audience can see. Can one of you do that for me? Can one of you do that? Okay? Do you know what I'm talking about, the Tibet.net? All right? So upload that up so that our audience can see. You can see clearly in the Tibetan constitution that it is an institutionalized law that you can't practice Dorje Shugden. And you can see a link to the video of His Holiness the Dalai Lama saying, and one of our people here will put up the link now, saying, if you practice Dorje Shugden, please kick them out of the monastery. Please expel them from the monastery. He rejoices in kicking them out of the monastery, and he wants them out of the monastery. And if you're afraid to remove them from the monastery, say the Dalai Lama said so. There's a video being uploaded now that you can see that, where the Dalai Lama said that himself. So from Tibet.net, where the Tibetan government in exile has a specific section that deters you from practicing Dorje Shugden, a religion. That is not freedom of religion. When His Holiness the Dalai Lama asks people who practice Dorje Shugden to leave the monasteries, that is not advice to give up Dorje Shugden. That is the Asian way of saying you have the choice, but it actually means you don't have the choice. If you don't follow, you will be segregated. You will be segregated from mainstream society. And that's what happens to many, many Dorje Shugden Lamas. Now, imagine a leader of the free world, the Japanese Prime Minister. Imagine the American President, the English Prime Minister, the Italian Prime Minister will say, anyone who practices Lutheran, Baptist, or Catholic may not work in the government, may not come to my talks, may not come for my get-togethers, and may not use schools and hospitals that belong to the government. Can you imagine a leader of the free world in today's 21st century telling people that if you practice a certain religion, you may not enjoy the facilities of every other citizen? That is not democratic. The Tibetan government in exile in Dharamsala has proclaimed themselves to be a democratic body of governance. A democratic body of governance. If you're democratic, you should give your citizens free speech, free choice of religion, free choice of livelihood. In fact, whatever Tibetan you are, black, white, Eastern, Western, American Tibetan, Indian Tibetan, a Tibetan that speaks Tibetan, a Tibetan that doesn't speak Tibetan, a mixed race Tibetan, a male Tibetan, female Tibetan, Kaju, Gelug, Sakya, Nyingma, Pempo, Kache, Muslim, Christian Tibetan, atheist Tibetan, Dorje Shugden Tibetan. All Tibetan people should be accorded the same equal opportunities from the Tibetan government. Why? because the Tibetan government has said that they are democratic. So, if in Tibet.net, you can see very clearly there's a section that degrades and discourages the practices of Dorje Shugden, then that is wrong. You show me one single government website in the free world that has a section that is devoted to discouraging you from any religion. In America, where I grew up, people practice Satanism. They pray to the devil, whatever that means. They pray, they have Wiccan religions, they have witchcraft. They pray to elementals and spirits. They harness the power of ghosts. In America, there's a huge millions of people who practice voodoo, voodoo. Voodoo are many types, white and black voodoo. And voodoo is specifically to harness the power of spirits and to get them to do special favors for you. You have people that practice Lutheran, Protestant, Mormons, Quakers, Puritans, Amish. You have people that practice Baptists, Catholics. You have people that practice Hinduism and all the subsects of the beautiful Hindu religion. You have people who are Jews. You have many types of Jews. You have the Hasidic Jews. You have the secular Jews. You have many types of beautiful Muslim people in America who practice Islam according to the various sects. You have the people who practice Buddhism, Zen Buddhism, Mahayana Buddhism, Thai Buddhism, Theravadan Buddhism, Tantric Buddhism, Vajrayana Buddhism. You have all types of people in America, and you know what? As long as you follow the law, no one can discourage you against your religion. And there is no government charter in the U.S. Constitution to discourage or encourage any religion. It's your free will. That is democracy. That is the democracy that the Tibetan government says that they're basing their democratic principles on, which is Western democracy. Now the basis of this discrimination against Dorje Shugden practitioners is that as a Buddhist, we are supposed to take refuge in the Buddha, in his teachings, the Dharma, and in his idea level ordained beings, the Sangha. So we're supposed to take refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha. Namo Guru Be, Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dhammaya, Namo Sanghaya. Namo Guru Be means to take refuge in one's teacher. That's according to Vajrayana. Lama la kyapsu chiyo, Sanje la kyapsu chiyo, Chö la kyapsu chiyo, Gendun la kyapsu chiyo. Now, if you look at Tibetan Buddhism, there's a plethora and a vast amount of deities that were not existent during Buddha Shakyamuni's time. For example, in Tibetan Buddhism, many people pray to the Buddha Guru Rinpoche. He wasn't existent during Buddha's time. Many people pray to Lama Tsongkhapa. Lama Tsongkhapa was not existent during Buddha's time. Many people make statues and worship and meditate on Atisha, Naropa, Tilopa. They worship Shantideva. They were not existent during Buddha's time. Buddha spoke about some of them, but mostly he didn't speak about any of them. So just because the Buddha didn't mention it doesn't mean it's not a valid path. Why? Because the Buddha gave teachings. And after he turned the wheel of Dharma, many people practiced those teachings and became fully enlightened beings. And when they became fully enlightened beings, for example, Naropa or Tilopa, they became proper objects of refuge. So therefore, when we practice Dorje Shugden, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, and I say this with the deepest respect to His Holiness, has said that we are in danger of demeaning the profound Buddhist path to spirit worship. I repeat, His Holiness the Dalai Lama has said on many occasions that if we practice Dorje Shugden, and we make Dorje Shugden important, and we make him a primary focus of our prayers, then there's a danger that we bring the profound path of Tibetan Buddhism to that of spirit worship. I fully agree with His Holiness the Dalai Lama. I fully agree. There is no Gelugpa Lama that makes Dorje Shugden higher than the Buddha, or makes him higher than Tsongkhapa, or makes him higher than any of the Buddhas. None. There has never been. But there are many Gelugpa Lamas for the last 400 years who have practiced Dorje Shugden 100% all the way. Now, Dorje Shugden, according to Kyabje Trijang Rinpoche's text and commentary on his practice. If you wish to download the commentary, then my wonderful team of writers will upload the link to my blog post now that goes to downloading the set of teachings that His Holiness Trijang Rinpoche gave on Dorje Shugden. It is in Tibetan English, isn't it? Okay, so they're going to upload it now for you. Now, you can download that anytime. It's for free. Now, His Holiness Kyabje Trijang Rinpoche is not an ordinary person. He's not an ordinary Lama. He's not an ordinary being. He's not an ordinary Geshe. He's not an ordinary practitioner. His Holiness Kyabje Trijang Rinpoche was chosen back in the early 1950s by the region of Tibet, by the oracles of Tibet, and by the great learned masters of Ganden Drepung and Sera to be the tutor of His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama. Now think about that. The 14th Dalai Lama is the emanation of Avalokiteshvara. He is the Buddha incarnate, the Buddha of compassion incarnate, I believe. In Tibet, they're not going to choose simply any Lama to be his guru. You have to understand, the incarnation of Avalokiteshvara, Cheneze, is going to prostrate to this monk, is going to get teachings, transmissions, mantras, mantrayana, initiations, commentaries, and the whole plethora of the Buddha's taught of Sutra and Tantra from this master. So do you think the Tibetan government of that time, the Tibetan High Lamas and the oracles will pick any Tom, Dick, or Harry Lama? Definitely not. So out of the thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands, literally thousands of very attained, enlightened, and erudite scholastic masters of Ganden, Sera, and Drepung, Kyabje Trijang Rinpoche was definitively chosen to guide the education of the young Dalai Lama, to give the vows and transmissions and teachings, the whole corpus of the Kangyur and Tengyur, the spoken and commentarial teachings of Lord Buddha and his luminaries to this master. Today, the Dalai Lama is arguably one of the greatest Buddhist masters that ever graced this planet. When he talks, thousands attend his teachings, definitely. He's an erudite scholar. He's a great master. He's a very attained Buddhist monk. And this came from where? This came from his teacher, His Holiness Kyabje Trijang Dorje Chang. Trijang Dorje Chang was chosen to teach the Dalai Lama, to guide the Dalai Lama, and Trijang Dorje Chang was considered one of the best, which he is. Now, for the last 30, 40 years of Trijang Rinpoche's life, his previous incarnation, he focused 100% on educating the 14th Dalai Lama from a very young age all the way up to him passing his examination as a Geshe. So Trijang Rinpoche poured his vast knowledge, poured his vast amount of teachings, knowledge, commentary to the young Dalai Lama. And the Dalai Lama, because of the kindness of his root guru, Kyabje Trijang Rinpoche, along with Kyabje Ling Dorje Chang, became the erudite master and scholar that he is today. Now, the Tibetan leadership, among some other people who like to talk, has said, if you practice Dorje Shugden, then you will go to the three lower realms. The three lower realms meaning taking rebirth as a spirit, ghost, animal, or hell. Because you break your refuge vows. Now, what are the refuge vows? There are 3 of the body, 4 of the speech, and 3 of the mind. The refuge vows 3 of the body, not killing, not stealing, and no sexual misconduct. 4 of the speech is this divisive speech, harsh words, idle chatter, and lying. So you can't lie. Then 3 of the mind is envy, hatred, malice, and wrong views. So when we take refuge from our gurus, Namo Guru Be, Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya, we have promised everyone from that day on to avoid these 10 actions, which are refuge vows. From the basis of our refuge vows, we are able to do meditation and practice and gain the blessings of the lineage. From the basis of the refuge vows, we can take monk vows and nun vows. From the basis of the refuge vows, we can take the bodhisattva vows to generate bodhicitta. Janju Semba Gyeba. From the basis of the refuge vows, we can take on Tantrayana vows. The vows of Tantra that are enshrined in Sang De Jiksum according to the path of Lama Tsongkhapa Chenpo, which is Yamataka, Guya Samaja, and Hiruka. So the path of Mantrayana, to gain attainments, one has to take on the vows of Tantrayana. And those are based on the vows of bodhicitta, bodhisattva vows, and that is based on the vows of refuge. So if your refuge vow is broken, everything is gone. From your refuge vows, that is your tsikden, that is your foundation. Your bodhisattva vows are like the walls, and your tantric vows are like the roof. Just to give you a little just imagery. So if you remove the foundation, of course the walls will collapse and roofs come crashing down. So that is what the Tibetan leadership has mentioned. That if you practice Dorje Shugden, you break your refuge vows. You break and damage your refuge vows. Because you break your refuge vows, then on that basis you break your bodhisattva vows. You break your tantric vows. So any practices you do on Hiruka, Yamataka, Guya Samaja, Kala Chakra, He Vajra, Vajrakilaya, etc., 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 will bear no fruit. Because the result of us gaining attainments is based on holding the vows correctly. I repeat, the basis of us holding attainments, the basis of us gaining attainments from our meditational practice on Tantra is based on holding our vows very well. Now, if your vows are broken, you're basically reciting empty mantras. For example, if you remove the engine of the car looks like the car, it has the wheels, it has the steering, it has the seats, it has everything, but it's not going to go anywhere. So basically, if you practice Dorje Shugden, it's like removing the engine of your spiritual car. That's what the leadership is telling us. Now, be it so. Be it so. But let's examine that a little deeper. So are you telling me that Trijang Rinpoche, the root guru of the Dalai Lama, broke his refuge vows, broke his bodhisattva vows, broke his Tantrayana vows? He practiced Dorje Shugden till the end of his life. His Holiness kept the Trijang Dorje Chang, lived to 81 years old. He lived to 81 years old. And do you mean that everything that he has received from his gurus is broken, is not valid, and impotent because he practiced Dorje Shugden? That's what the leadership is telling us. So if that's the case, then whatever teachings that Trijang Rinpoche has is broken, is impotent, and has no blessings because he worshipped a so-called spirit, the spirit Dorje Shugden. Therefore, whatever he gave the Dalai Lama also is broken, not relevant, not powerful, has no blessings. So does that mean the Dalai Lama has been giving teachings to the whole world, teachings that came from a spirit worshiper? Is that possible? Does that make sense? Also, in Ganden Monastery, there's a great stupa Okay, can one of our writers find a picture of the stupa in Ganden Monastery that is Trungpa Rinpoche stupa and put it up? The audience can see that has been there for 30 years. 30, 40 years. That's the stupa of Trungpa Rinpoche, because when a high lama passes away, you cremate their body, you enshrine them inside a stupa, and people will circumambulate around the stupa. Well, there's a stupa of Trungpa Rinpoche in Ganden Monastery now. So is that stupa invalid? It's a stupa of a being that worshipped a spirit, Dorje Shugden. Does that make sense to you? Doesn't make sense to me. So why isn't that stupa removed? Why are hundreds of Ganden monks today circumambulating around the Trungpa Rinpoche stupa? Doesn't make sense. Wouldn't you remove all that from the monastery of a spirit worshipper? Now, let's get a little bit more interesting. His Holiness, in his skillful way, has said, if you practice Dorje Shugden, you will take rebirth into the 3 lower realms. Definitively. I repeat, if you pray to Dorje Shugden, you will take rebirth into the 3 lower realms. So, Dorje Shugden's practice has been around since the Sakya times. Some of the greatest Sakya luminaries and masters practiced Dorje Shugden, initiated people to Dorje Shugden, and taught Dorje Shugden. Can some of us put some of the Sakya masters on there? A link the audience can see. Some of the greatest Sakya masters have practiced Dorje Shugden. One of the greatest recently is His Holiness, the great Sakya Trinzen, Chokshu Chenle. Very, very great master, highly attained. Now, if you practice Dorje Shugden, you go to the 3 lower realms. That means you become a spirit, you become a ghost, you go to hell, correct? So if that's the case, there can be no incarnate lamas who practice Dorje Shugden and their incarnations come back. I repeat, if you practice Dorje Shugden, when you die, you must go to the 3 lower realms. If you don't go to the 3 lower realms, then what they're telling us about Dorje Shugden is wrong. Well, my question is this. You have these lamas and these lamas who all practice Dorje Shugden, and those are just some of them who practice Dorje Shugden. Let me read you some of the names, because there are so many in the last 400 years. The 35th Sakya throne holder, Tashi Rinchen. The 33rd Sakya throne holder, Pedma Dudu Wangchuk. The 31st Sakya throne holder, Kunga Lodro. The 30th Sakya throne holder, Sonam Rinchen. Now these masters, some of them have even composed prayers, consoles, pujas to Dorje Shugden. Not only they prayed, they also composed, and I have some of those compositions. Dorje Chang, Gyaltsen Shakya, Gen Lam Rinpa, Radong Rinpoche, Kyabje Dema Locho Rinpoche, Ngawan Losan Danchu Gyaltsen, Kenchen Ngawan Gyatso, Kense Rinpoche Losan Tempa, Kangyo Rinpoche, Kangsa Rinpoche, Tupting Kunga, Kutsan Rinpoche, Gese Rinpoche, Losan Sherab Rinpoche, Amcho Rinpoche, Acho Rinpoche, Geshi Punso Gyaltsen, Dunkar Rinpoche, Losan Chile, Lazar Rinpoche, Kartse Rinpoche, Drupchen Rinpoche, Punso Rinpoche, Gyara Rinpoche, Chipun Rinpoche, Geshi Tempa, Chapel Rinpoche, Meli Gyamgun Rinpoche, Jampa Kidrup Rinpoche, Neshe Chuku Rinpoche, Chuku Losan Punso, Kursan Rinpoche, Hwasan Rinpoche, Nima Rinpoche, Geshi Jampa Ketsun, Ken Rinpoche, Jesun Jampa Tsundru, Chichen Lama, Nidru Rinpoche, Panglong Rinpoche, Kishi Sonam Gyaltsen, Litang Gyamgun Rinpoche, Kempo Kishi Losan Jimba, Chiu Gyubin Rinpoche, Usu Lopsan Tenzin, Tuku Lopsan Yeshi, Papa Hwa Rinpoche, Dartse Chuku Rinpoche, Dukor Chuku Tenzin Gelit Namge, Gyaltsen Shakya Rinpoche, Kondo Rinpoche, Dayap Ano Rinpoche Losan Gyansen, Ngawan Losan Tempe, Gyansen Senge, Lama Jaba Tari, Lama Karma Gyansen, Gyan Pema Doji, Yongzen Tuptin Damba, Chutsu Gyansen Tamchu, Ngachen Rinpoche, Lama Lopsan Gonchu, Namka Tenzin Wangchu, Kung Sur, Chichen Rinpoche, Gyan Rapke, Gyan Jamyang Gyatso, Chokchu Tempa Nima, Jesun Jamba Doji, Damche Rinchen Jungni, Nichu Rinpoche, Gishi Singi Rinpoche, Domepa Yondeng Gyatso, Dromo Geshe Rinpoche, Lama Sakya Rinpoche, Gishi Kunjo Gyatsen, Gishi Janju Gyatsen, Gishi Lopsan Jimpa, Gishi Lopsan Punso, Banglo Kudin Chukpa, Banglo Kudin Dumba, Lada Kudin, Jampa Lopsan, Shape Rinpoche, Simla Kudin, Samdru Rinpoche, Kamgyuk Rinpoche, Kangsa Rinpoche, Chuchi Kang Rinpoche, Gishi Tuptin Loden, Karchen Losan Chudar, Buntup Rinpoche, Lama Jamyang Kidru Rinpoche, Gishi Losan Pende, Kinsu Tenzin Sherab, Kunchin Jamyang Sheba. These are just some of the lamas that I read to you that practice Dorje Shugden definitively, openly, and conclusively without any doubt. Now, we have another set of lamas who practice Dorje Shugden, who give Dorje Shugden initiation, give Dorje Shugden practice, and promote Dorje Shugden. Kyaji Pabonka Dorje Chang, Dangbo. Kyaji Pabonka Dorje Chokdru Rinpoche, Niba. Kyaji Chokdru Rinpoche, Sumba. Chujan Dorje Chang, Chujan Chokdru Rinpoche. Kyaji Son Dorje Chang. Kyabji Dromo Gishi Chokdru Rinpoche, Gishi Rapten Chokdru Rinpoche, Shapa Chuchi, Jesun Losan Nima, Pea Sangbo, Kyabji Zeme Rinpoche, Kyabji Zeme Chokdru Rinpoche, Sekun Dorje Chang, Koma, Gishi Tendar Rinpoche, Gishi Tendar Chokdru Rinpoche, Gandin Chipa, Gyada Jik, Jesun Lunik Namge, Pea Sangbo. That is the 101st holder of the Ganden throne. His Holiness, Ganden Chipa Jesun Lunik Namgyal, also the holder of Ganden throne, is a great Dorje Shugden practitioner. Panchen Lama Guba, the 9th Panchen Lama, the 10th Panchen Lama, Dabo Bamcho Rinpoche, Tuptin Tuku Rinpoche, Kensa Ngawan Techo Serame, Lama Yeshi, Nechung Rinpoche, Ojin Chile, Takta Rinpoche, Kyabje Ganche Rinpoche, Sopu Rinpoche Guru Deva, Jara Rinpoche, Kensu Rinpoche Jesun Lopsan Gonjuk, Goso Rinpoche, Kensu Rinpoche Jesun Lopsan Tarchin, Kyabje Chagon Rinpoche, Kyabje Lati Rinpoche, Kyabje Kensu Rinpoche Jesun Jamba Yeshe, Kyabje Dakya Rinpoche, Kyabje Gelek Rinpoche, Hotokdu Kaka Jesun Damba, Gishi Kyasan Gyatso, Kyabje Zazep Rinpoche, Kyabje Kejo Rinpoche, Gishi Yeshi Wangchuk, Kyabje Yongyao Rinpoche, Gishi Kanap Gajam, Gishi Tsurim Tenzin Rinpoche, Rongtang Gyamgon Rinpoche, Gishi Tsurim Gyaltsen, Kyabje Dema Gosa Rinpoche, Kyabje Dema Chokdru Rinpoche, Dema Gosa Chokdru Rinpoche, Chagri Rinpoche, Kensu Losan Tsepel, Ajing Rinpoche, Jampa Chuchi Pea Sambo Rinpoche, Shonglu Rinpoche, Kejo Rinpoche, Tencho Rinpoche, Jayap Tokten Rinpoche, Sawa Poto Rinpoche, Sekun Chijo Rinpoche, Kunchu Geshi Kunchu Tsering, Kensu Jesun Kunchu Tsering Rinpoche, Gyatso Rinpoche, Ribo Rinpoche, Shap Akaza, Gyudu Kensu, Nyari Kamsen, Gyudu Kensu, Jesun Losan Demba, Kari Rinpoche, Zawa Rinpoche, Chare Rinpoche Sumba, Kembo Shangbar Yonden, Changya Rinpoche, Rinjin Gombo Rinpoche, Rinjin Gombo Chokju Rinpoche, Geshe Losang Kedrup, Dana Rinpoche, Puten Rinpoche, Para Rinpoche, Geshe Wangchuk, Gongsa Rinpoche, Gukoma, Gongsa Chokju Rinpoche, Kinsa Ngawan Chakpa Rinpoche, Che Yongzen Rinpoche, Serame Kangyo Rinpoche, Geshe Tupten Rinpoche, Kinsu Rinpoche, Jason Losang Pende, Sha Gandenki Kinsu, Kyabje Rato Rinpoche, Geshe Ngawan Darge, Kundeling Rinpoche, Geshe Tenzin Dorje, Jamsen Rinpoche, Panchen Lama, Duko Rinpoche, Panchen Lama Dan Duko Rinpoche, Geshe Gelek Gyatso, Kinsu Losang Tempa, Je Guntan Rinpoche, Jamba Rinpoche, Rato Chowa Rinpoche, Lama Tupten Purbu Rinpoche, Zawa Damding Rinpoche, Zako Ngawan Chakpa, Choden Rinpoche, Kachen Losan Sopa Rinpoche, Gandin Chiba Gyad Niba, Choyan Dunzin Kuten, Sansan Rinpoche, Dubun Rinpoche, Sekon Rinpoche, Kensa Sonam Gyansen, Dunzin Chaba Gyansen, Lama Michel Rinpoche, Samdong Rinpoche, Ngoma, Sakya Chinzin Kungan Ningbo, Sakya Chinzin Jaksho Chinle Rinchen. Those are some of the lamas that practiced Dorje Shugden or did practice before. So that's quite a lot. Now, Jomo Geshe Rinpoche the first, and my writers to put up the picture, practiced Dorje Shugden. He died, his incarnation came back and practiced Dorje Shugden. He passed away, and this incarnation is recognized by the Tibetan government. Now, the interesting thing is there's two Jomo Geshe Rinpoches. Two. One recognized by the Tibetan government, one recognized by the Dorje Shugden monasteries. Now, my question is, if he practiced Dorje Shugden, why are you recognizing him? Shouldn't he have gone to the three lower realms? So by the Tibetan government recognizing this Jomo Geshe Rinpoche, they are contradicting their own information on Dorje Shugden. They said that Dorje Shugden practitioners go to the three lower realms, even if you're a High Lama. So how come they recognize this one? He practiced Dorje Shugden. Contradiction. Kyabje Latri Rinpoche, I know personally, encouraged me to practice Dorje Shugden, told me to practice Dorje Shugden. And when I have difficulties, he told me to consult Dorje Shugden through the oracle. Latri Rinpoche told me that. Latri Rinpoche was the one that asked me to come to Malaysia and give teachings in Malaysia. Many of my students had the honor and privilege to meet Latri Rinpoche. Well, Kyabje Latri Rinpoche has passed away and his incarnation came back. I know Latri Rinpoche practiced Dorje Shugden. If he practiced Dorje Shugden, how come His Holiness the Dalai Lama recognizes his incarnation? Shouldn't he have gone to the three lower realms? I'm not saying he should. I'm not saying he did. I'm saying the contradiction in the teachings. Geshe Rabden, who was sent to Switzerland by the 14 Dalai Lamas to give teachings, and he's the master of masters, a great erudite master, a very highly attained meditator who spent over 13, 14 years in Dharamsala meditating before he went to Switzerland to give teachings. He was a Dorje Shugden practitioner to the end. He never gave up. How come his incarnation is back? The Dalai Lama recognized his incarnation. The Dalai Lama found his reincarnation. The Dalai Lama agrees with his reincarnation. So his incarnation is back. If he practiced Dorje Shugden, how come he didn't go to the three lower realms? Gyara Rinpoche is another one who practiced Dorje Shugden. His incarnation is back. He didn't go to the three lower realms. Sekung Dorje Chang the first. Jesung Ngawan Tsurim. Sekung Dorje Chang the first, Jesung Ngawan Tsurim, was a very powerful and erudite Dorje Shugden practitioner of Ganden Jangse Monastery. He passed away. His incarnation came back as Sekung Dorje Chang the second, Jesung Tupten Tsewang. He passed away, and this is his current incarnation. This current incarnation is also recognized by the Tibetan government. So how come he didn't go to the three lower realms? Why is the Tibetan government recognizing lamas that practice Dorje Shugden and then they say their incarnations came back? It doesn't make sense. Dorje Shugden the Dambina, Sosoki, Nyamlen Pake Jugruba, Sosoki, Dompa Pake Jugruba, Sosoki, Kamjoki Dompa Pake Jugruba, Sosoki Dombaki, Sosoki, Kamjoki Dompa Ke Jobina, Sosoki, Nyesumaki Marwa, Nyesum Kevina, and Lama Kangadi, Chugun Dengire, Chugun Demina, Konosa Yansi Pay Yudua, Yansi Pay du, Gonsa Chempo, Koran Rangi, Chada Nangdua, Gonsa Chempo Rangi, Chada Nambina, Diki Kecha Chidalo Chadua, Chugung Dambina, Nyesumpa Geshagres, Nyesumpa Droshagre, Nyesungi Job Chembina, and Lama Yansi Kande Leina, Lama Yansi Kande Payina. The Ratu women do. Chesa Pershun Koransuk, Chugun Dengi, Lama Densa Sungi, Chugun Dengi, Lama Mamogi, Yansi Koransu the Gonzin Nangadua, Gonzin Nang Indu, Koransu Kecha Chidalo Cha Yundu, Karchan Chidalo Cha Yundu. Chugun Demina, Sosoki Gamjoki Domba Pa Dorshagdua. Gamjoki Domba Mena, Gamjoki Domba Sena, Nansoki Zaware. Gamjoki Domba Gala Naza Gitsu Gelongi Domba Naza Shuchore. Ani Gamjoki Domba Yona Nazi Janju Sembeki Domba Da, Nagi Domba Naza Shuchore. Gamjoki Domba Mena, Naza Gitsu Gelong, Nazo Janju Sembeki Domba, Nazo Nagi Domba Pura, Tortsarta, Satsarta. Dindu Nazo Nyandan Chebina Nazo Toba Gea Yomarwa, Toba Gea Mena, Toba Gea Mena. Ani Nazo Nyandan Karchegores. Chesa Pershun da Gamgramji Denis Songdua. Chugyunki Dambina, Sosong Yesung Joshagre. Yida, Nyawa, Tundre. Yesung singing Dirwa, Yida, Nyawa, Tundre. That Yida Nyawa Tundruki Desaki Gabina, Lama Yansiki Chada Nambeche, Gonzin Chebeche, Chushu Chebeche, the Ratu Mendua. And it Chugyunki Danging a Lama, Mangche, Yansi Pedua, and Garamji Ran, Koranki Gonzin Nanchi Chada Nandua. So, it doesn't make sense because the Tibetan government says that if we practice Dorje Shugden, we go to the 3 lower realms. If we go to the 3 lower realms, how come the Tibetan government themselves are recognizing these lamas and installing them in the monasteries? Which one is it? Do you go to hell? You don't go to hell. So these lamas don't go to the 3 lower realms, to hell, animal, and ghost realms. Then people like us, normal people like us, who believe in these lamas and take refuge in them and practice Dorje Shugden, also should not go to the 3 lower realms. Doesn't that make a lot of sense? Panglung Rinpoche, Kyabje Yonggaramchi, Tsaramchi, they're all Dorje Shugden practitioners from previous life and this life. Their incarnations are back. My first root guru, Khyentse Rinpoche, Serame, Khyentse Rinpoche, Jesun Losang Tarchen, was a lifelong Dorje Shugden practitioner. He received his Dorje Shugden initiation Sokte from Kyabje Song Rinpoche. I know that. So Khyentse Losang Tarchen Rinpoche received his practice and initiation of Dorje Shugden from Kyabje Song Rinpoche. He practiced Dorje Shugden his whole life. When he passed away, guess what? The Dalai Lama found his new incarnation. His Holiness the Dalai Lama just recognized his new incarnation, and he's back. So how is that possible? Then, the great master, the great tantric luminary, the great sutra holder, the Vinaya holder, Gandin Shatse, Nyari Kamsinki, Shabachichi, Jesong Losang Nima, Pe Sangbo, was one of the greatest tantric masters and retreatants and attained lineage holders that I've ever met in my life. He's from Gandin Shatse Monastery. He is one of my gurus. He passed away, and his incarnation came back, and his incarnation is in Gandin Shatse Monastery. So, Shapa Chichi Jesong Losang Nima's incarnations in Gandin Shatse Monastery, he practiced Dorje Shugden his whole life. He told me personally, he never gave up on Dorje Shugden. His incarnation is back, recognized by the Tibetan government. My late guru, Geshe Tsurim Gyaltsen was the first person to introduce me to Dorje Shugden and told me to practice Dorje Shugden and encouraged me to practice Dorje Shugden. When I was having difficulties in the USA, when I was 16, 17, 18, I was living with this great master, Geshe Tsurim Gyaltsen La, and he told me to practice Dorje Shugden. He encouraged me. And when he invited Tsem Rinpoche, his guru, to America, Tsem Rinpoche gave us the initiation of Dorje Shugden, which is called a Sokde. He passed away. His incarnation is back, recognized by the Dalai Lama. Geshe Tendar practiced Dorje Shugden. His incarnation is back in Mongolia. He practiced Dorje Shugden. Lama Yeshe is well known for practicing Dorje Shugden. The starter, the beginner, the inspiration, and the founder of the great organization called FPMT. Lama Yeshe himself, in his books, to his teachings, often encouraged people to practice Dorje Shugden. And when he passed away, his incarnation came back. How come Lama Yeshe didn't go to the three lower realms? Is it because the information from the Tibetan government is perhaps wrong? Or Dorje Shugden isn't a spirit and he's actually Manjushri, as our teachers tell us he is. So if you practice him, bad things don't happen to you. You don't take bad rebirth. Okay? The great master, Ganden Shatse Pukang Kari Khentrul Rinpoche, practiced Dorje Shugden, a great abbot, great teacher of Ganden. His incarnation is back. Kyabje Dema Gonsa Rinpoche, one of the most famous, well-known masters of Tibet in the current century. Kyabje Dema Gonsa Dorje Chang. When he passed away, his incarnation is back. He has a huge Dorje Shugden chapel in Kham area of Tibet. Kyabje Tragon Dorje Chang, one of my gurus, another erudite master, a gentle master, a pure monk, a Vinaya holder, a Duwa Zimba, Dunzin. Kyabje Tragon Dorje Chang from Drepung Goma Monastery, practiced Dorje Shugden and gave initiation Dorje Shugden and encouraged me. When he passed away, his undisputed incarnation is returned. How is that possible? Kyabje Zemer Rinpoche, the one who wrote the yellow book. The one who wrote the yellow book about how if you practice Nyingma teachings, Dorje Shugden is going to harm you. And so you shouldn't practice Dorje Shugden. And when His Holiness the Dalai Lama read the yellow book, because of that, His Holiness the Dalai Lama decided to start the ban in 1996 that we shouldn't practice Dorje Shugden. Kyabje Zemer Rinpoche passed away, and his incarnation is back in Tibet, studying very well, bright, perfect, smart, kind. Many people went to see him. Kyabje Zemer Rinpoche is back. By the way, that yellow book, the way it's been interpreted, is not exactly accurate. My root guru, His Holiness, Kyabje Song Dorje Chang, gave me the Dorje Shugden initiation, practiced Dorje Shugden his whole life, and gave hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of foreigners, non-Tibetans and Tibetans, thousands of monks, Dorje Shugden initiation. He's back. He's about to finish his Geshe studies. He's perfect. He's beautiful. He's educated. He's teaching. And he practiced Dorje Shugden. How come Tsem Rinpoche didn't go to the three lower realms? By the way, the Tsem Rinpoche incarnation was found by Dorje Shugden, Oracle, and the Dalai Lama simultaneously. I was there. I witnessed it. When Tsem Rinpoche was very young, the current Tsem Rinpoche, the current one, recognized people from his previous lives, recognized people and knew them by name. He can remember clearly. Why didn't he go to the three lower realms? Kyabje Ling Rinpoche was not a strong Dorje Shugden practitioner, but he respected Dorje Shugden. I repeat, Kyabje Ling Dorje Chang was not a strong Dorje Shugden practitioner, but he was one that respected Dorje Shugden because he wrote prayers of Dorje Shugden. And my writers now will give you a link on where to show you in Tibetan and English the prayers he's written to Dorje Shugden. His incarnation is back. Kyabje Pabongo Dorje Chang, who composed the Dorje Shugden pujas and prayers. He extracted it from the Sakya, and he composed the prayers for the Gelugpa. He passed away. He gave many initiations of Dorje Shugden. He passed away. His incarnation came back. His incarnation passed away. This is the current incarnation. The current incarnation is a great master, great scholar, great practitioner of Hiruko's Tantra. So if Pabongka Rinpoche was such a bad person, such an evil person, a person that really broke his refuge vows, broke his tantric vows, broke his bodhisattva vows, how come he can return back? Doesn't that mean there's something wrong? And this incarnation, the Pabongka Rinpoche, was found by the Dalai Lama himself and the Dorje Shugden oracle. Pabongka Rinpoche, incarnations back. His Holiness Khyabje Trijan Dorje Chang. We all know who he is. He is one of the root gurus of His Holiness, the 14th Dalai Lama, who was a Dorje Shugden practitioner his whole life, who is the guru of all gurus, who is the guru of tens and thousands of students, all those of my generation and above, of Ganden Sera Drepung. There is not one person that has not received teachings from Trijan Rinpoche. He is the one that spread Dorje Shugden's practice. He is the one that wrote commentaries on Dorje Shugden. He's the one that gave initiations on Dorje Shugden. Yet, he spent a whole life spreading and illuminating on Dorje Shugden. Yet, when he passed away, the Dalai Lama personally found his incarnation. Dorje Shugden's oracle personally found his incarnation. So Dorje Shugden's oracle and Dalai Lama both found his incarnation, and his incarnation is back. If practicing Dorje Shugden is bad, the Dalai Lama said, if you practice Dorje Shugden, you will go to the three lower realms. Dorje Rinpoche, Gyal Yishinobu, Karisongudus, Dorje Shugden Tambina, Soso Nyesunpa Gedrugres. Nyesunpa Droshagres. Gedrogi Maris, Droshagres. And Soso Ki Nyesunga Chembeina, and Lama Yansi Kande Yungudu. And Lama Yansi Pebina, Gyamgrunchi Rangi. Ngonzenda chada nangudu. Dati ratu mason yana lama nyesung pa gedrugres. Joshagres. Yana yangsi letu mare. Yana Dorje Shugden tambina kyen yomare. Dorje Shugden tambina kyen yomares. Di indu lama yangsi pechogres. Shen garamchi korangi Dorje Shugden tambina nyesung gegres. Tak Dorje Shugden tangenga lama chada dan ngonzen na yomarwa. Na yona nyamdoki pargabina ta Dorje Shugden tambina kyemenduas. So there cannot be a fault with Dorje Shugden's practice because the Dorje Shugden Lamas come back and no problem. And the very persons that says that Dorje Shugden is negative recognizes the Lamas that practice Dorje Shugden. There's some contradiction there. Last but not least, His Holiness the 9th Panchen Lama installed a Dorje Shugden chapel in Tashi Lumpo. And I went to Tibet myself, and I went to Tashi Lumpo Monastery, and I visited Dorje Shugden chapel. I made offerings there. I did black tea serkim there, offerings there, and I also took pictures of the chapel. So the 9th Panchen Lama himself is the highest Lama of Tibet at this time, the second highest Lama. This is his monastery, Tashi Lumpo. This is the Dorje Shugden Chapel. This is Tashi Lumpo Monastery, the prayer hall. This is the chapel of Dorje Shugden. This is a chapel in Tashi Lumpo dedicated by the 9th Panchen Lama to Dorje Shugden. This is a picture taken by myself, my team. So this is the chapel of Dorje Shugden in Tashi Lumpo Monastery, installed by the 9th Panchen Lama. And in fact, the 9th Panchen Lama invited Pabongka Rinpoche to Tashi Lumpo to do the ceremonies. This is inside the protector chapel. These are pictures inside, and my team are uploading it for you. This is the statue commissioned by the 9th Panchen Lama of Dorje Shugden. So this statue now is in Tashi Lumpo Monastery, installed by the 9th Panchen Lama, and worshipped by the 9th Panchen Lama. The 9th Panchen Lama who installed Dorje Shugden, the 9th Panchen Lama who installed Dorje Shugden in his monastery, prayed to Dorje Shugden in his monastery. The chapel is still there, died, and reincarnated as the 10th Panchen Lama. The 10th Panchen Lama also practiced Dorje Shugden, because I have very close Lama friends who are very close to Panchen Lama who did Dorje Shugden Puja and black tea with him together. So the 10th Panchen Lama also practiced Dorje Shugden, and he passed away, and the 11th Panchen Lama showed up. The 11th Panchen Lama is found by Nechung and the Dalai Lama. But he practiced Dorje Shugden in his previous life. He practiced Dorje Shugden in his previous life. How come he is able to take rebirth as a human being? So even the highest of the high practiced Dorje Shugden, and they return back, and the Dalai Lama and Nechung all recognize their incarnations. Does that make sense? So this is the evidence I'm showing you that if you practice Dorje Shugden, it's impossible you go to the 3 lower realms. Impossible. There are so many lamas that practice Dorje Shugden, and these are just the top of the top, and these are just recently, in the last 100 years, we have pictures. For the last 400 years, there have been thousands of lamas that practice Dorje Shugden that I don't have pictures of because there was no cameras 200, 300, 400 years ago. Just because Dorje Shugden was not mentioned by Lama Tsongkhapa doesn't mean you cannot practice Dorje Shugden. Why? Because there are many highly realized lamas that came after Lama Tsongkhapa that recognized Dorje Shugden as a genuine emanation of Manjushri. So we have to get something straight. What we need to get straight is this. If we practice Dorje Shugden, do we go to the 3 lower realms? If we go to the 3 lower realms, why are the teachers of Dorje Shugden's practice not going to the 3 lower realms? If they're not going to the 3 lower realms, doesn't it make the Tibetan government look a little contradictory by recognizing the incarnations? Wouldn't you not recognize incarnations of Dorje Shugden Lamas? Why wouldn't you recognize them? Because when you recognize them, you're telling people that there's nothing wrong with Dorje Shugden. Otherwise, how do these incarnations come back? I repeat, by recognizing Dorje Shugden Lama's incarnations and putting them in the monasteries again, you're telling the world, if you practice Dorje Shugden, nothing bad happens to you. Doesn't that contradict what you're saying? So let's think about all that. Therefore, in conclusion, again, I've just shown you the tip of the iceberg of the great lamas of practice. Many of them I'm familiar with, or my teachers are familiar with that told me about them. And there is no, and some of you might say, well, some of the people who showed gave up Dorje Shugden. They may have given up Dorje Shugden, but they practiced Dorje Shugden at one time or another in their life, which shows that Dorje Shugden was not a minor practice. Dorje Shugden was a pervasive practice within the Gelugpas. I repeat, Dorje Shugden was a pervasive practice among the Gelugpas till the 1996 ban. All right? So, if you practice Dorje Shugden, you break your refuge vows and you go to the 3 lower realms. None of them went to the 3 lower realms. Some more, the very people who say you go to the 3 lower realms, they recognize the lamas who practice Dorje Shugden. All right? So I want everybody to think about that. Everything that I have said is with logic, thoroughly thought out, and I wish to repeat. I do not wish to disparage His Holiness the Dalai Lama. I do not wish to say anything negative, and I do not wish to offend His Holiness. I have great respect and love and faith in His Holiness the Dalai Lama. So, Trijang Rinpoche said, before he passed away, the previous Trijang Rinpoche said before he passed away, in the future, it will look like the Dalai Lama and Dorje Shugden are in conflict with each other to the ordinary eye through conventional vision, through conventional observation. But on an ultimate level, there are 2 ways of viewing things. On an ultimate level, those who have achieved emptiness, and conventional methods, those who have not achieved emptiness. So through conventional methods, it seems that the Dalai Lama, His Holiness, the Dalai Lama, has conflict with Dorje Shugden and they're against each other. But on an ultimate realm, they are not. They are helping each other to bring the Buddha Dharma to the greater masses. Now, that was told to me by many lamas, many geshis, many teachers, and my gurus in Ganden Monastery who heard it from Trijang Rinpoche himself. So we cannot say, oh, well, Trijang Rinpoche said that, I accept. Trijang Rinpoche said that, I don't accept. Whether you accept, you don't accept, that's what Trijang Rinpoche says. If you accept it, you respect him. If you don't accept it, then you don't respect him. You have greater wisdom than him. I don't have greater wisdom than him, so I choose to believe that the Dalai Lama and Dorje Shugden are working together to make the Dharma grow in the world. That's what I choose. So I make a fervent appeal to His Holiness the Dalai Lama and his ministers to please remove the stigma from Dorje Shugden. Please remove all negative talk and writings from Tibet.net and DalaiLama.com. Tibet.net and DalaiLama.com both have information and sections against Dorje Shugden. The Dalai Lama is one of the greatest spiritual inspirations and leaders of our planet today, of the 21st century. To have a section on his blog site to discourage one type of religion of humankind does not befit the status, the name, and the grandeur of such an incredible spiritual leader. Imagine if we go to Mother Teresa's website, and then there's one section that says, oh, if you're a Catholic, you're good. If you practice Baptist, you're not good. How would that make us feel about Mother Teresa? It wouldn't look good for someone of her stature, of her grandness, of her spiritual level. So I request to remove all stigma, and Your Holiness, with one sentence, if you tell people, accept the Dorje Shugden people, they're people too, and they deserve compassion, and they're Tibetans too, all the Tibetans will unite, and all the conflict between Dorje Shugden and non-Dorje Shugden people will end. Only one sentence from you, one statement from you. You are very powerful. I am appealing to Your Holiness for the sake of harmony for Tibetans. I'm appealing to Your Holiness for the sake of bringing all Tibetans together. Whether I am a Muslim Tibetan, Christian Tibetan, Buddhist Tibetan, Gelugpa, Sakya, Nyingma, Kagyu, Pempo, Jonangpa Tibetan, whether I am a Utsangpa, a Amdoa, or Kamba Tibetan, whether I am a Shugdenpa Tibetan, whatever type of Tibetan, I am still Tibetan. I am born in a foreign country. I don't speak Tibetan well. That's not my fault, because I never got to live and breathe and abide in Tibetan culture because we lost our country. So therefore, I'm asking the Tibetan leadership to unite all Tibetans, to save our culture, save our religion, save our unique way of life, because we need unity. Please not segregate Tibetans due to religion and regionalism. Most important, for Buddhism to grow, we need the conflict of Dorje Shugden to end. This can end when we understand that all of us are humans and we have a right to practice religion. And for Dorje Shugden people, we should be allowed to join the Dalai Lama's talks, especially the secular talks. He's our leader. He is our leader. So if he has something to say, we should have a right to go there and to join in and not be segregated on the basis of our religion. So I'm requesting, with the deepest respect, for the stigma against Dorje Shugden to end and the negative talk, because it's all very illogical, very, very illogical. I wish His Holiness, the Dalai Lama, the 14th Dalai Lama, long life, very long life. I wish him to live for hundreds of years and to continue to experience good health and to turn the wheel of Dharma, because he has benefited so many people. I wish for the teachings of the Buddha to spread into 10 directions and to benefit people who have a divinity. I wish all people to be at peace and have harmony, and that religion be the cause of unity, not be the cause of schism. I repeat, I wish religion is to be used as a cause for unity and tolerance and understanding, and not division and schism. And last but not least, I wish very much that my videos do not offend anyone, because I am not talking about this to offend anyone. I'm simply giving knowledge. My way of life, my religion, what I follow is being threatened. I suffer persecution. I suffer segregation. I suffer degradation. I suffer humiliation and insults almost on a daily basis because of my religious choice. That should not be like that in today's 21st century world. It should not be like that. Thank you very much. I'll have this all on my blog so that you can see it. And for now, Daso Jine Sabi Gyawandi, Tandan Jawa Kundan Gamadan, Jeba Jason Losan Java Yi, Dambi Himboni do Saje, Sho, Janji Sinjo Rimbonji, Machan Bana Jigi, Cheba neba beba yang goni goni bewa sho. Toni towa rinpoche manje bana chiki chi. Cheba neba beba yang goni goni bewa sho. Kiawan di nude da lama kechi. Lama sanje drugune jo chige malo ba dei sala go ba sho. Chuji jabo Tsongkhapa chuji nama pewa la. Genji shewa shewa dan chenje malo tawa sho. Dadang jisin tusun zang jewe zoni la tene. Jewa lo san draba yi tenba yurin ba je ji. 刚是转把张根进那个把整个人来生起来呢，做成个人学的那个在单上高档接了加手对，刚的这位考虑新港的本地的嘞，台湾马路中为呢，前的生活单身干做以下边系的把对点就去。 刚的这位考虑新港的本地的话，马路中为呢，前的生活单身干做以下边系的把对点就去。刚的这位考虑新港的本地。 平当的话，马路中为呢，前天生活单身干做以下边系的把对点就去。Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Goodbye for now.